Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Sir Keir Starmer and Anas Sarwar had a clear case of Que Sera Sera in the town hall at Rutherglen and West Hamilton today. It took me some time to work out how to put them together. Anyway, they were sitting there. It was a bit of a circle jerk, to be honest. It was, hey, you're great, and yeah, you're brilliant too. But they were just sort of sitting there congratulating each other. Sir Keir, was obviously giving his support and pressing the flesh, putting it out there, shaking the stick a bit to show people that Labour are aware that there is a by-election coming and that they all need to vote for Labour. Now, the general consensus between the two of them at the meeting was that they don't expect to need any tactical voting. That doesn't mean that there won't be any. I suspect there probably still will. There's going to be some Conservative voters who know they're not going to get in, but may just lend their vote to the Labour candidate, Michael Shanks. Just, not that they want him to get in, of course, but just to make sure that the SNP don't. So there is a lot of that sort of stuff at by-elections. But of course, come the general election, there may need to be a lot more of it. But more on that, nearer the general election time. But we'll have a look at this, see what the two guys were saying, see what was the general discussion points, and see how they are planning on ousting yet another SNP stronghold. I mean, technically, she was independent, old Margaret Ferrier, but she always voted with the SNP, and she was for many years SNP. Anyway, here goes. So Anas Sarwar says Labour doesn't need tactical voting to beat the SNP in Rutherglen and Hamilton West by-election. And I think, as I say, I think he's probably right, because I think that they will win it straight off. It's going to be a direct Labour-SNP fight, but I suspect Labour will win it. You're going to have the people who would have voted SNP who've kind of become a little bit jaded towards them with everything that's happened. They'll drop back a bit. Labour is currently resurgent, and so yeah, I think it's going to be a straight victory to Labour. But I think, as I say in the header there, I think there will be some tactical voting by particularly Tories who just want to make sure that the SNP are out. Now, I've said before about Anas Sarwar, he's kept his powder dry for quite some time. He's kept his mouth shut, which is a very good thing to do, because every time you open your mouth, you risk splitting your party or the electorate. Now, one only has to look at Humza Yousaf, who constantly has to keep doing that and saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And every time he opens his mouth, bang, he's losing a proportion of the voter. He's lost someone there, he's lost someone there. And so it's slowly whittling away till you're left with nothing, or at least a very hardcore but small base of extremists, and then that puts other people off. Whereas Anas Sarwar keeps his distance. I'm saying nothing. No. And if something needs to be said, then he sends out the shock troops, doesn't he? In the form of Jackie Bailey. Out she comes. Boom, attacks. Boom, attacks. Always scores good points and then retreats back. And by doing so, the point is made. The point is raised. It's in the public eye, but it's not assigned to him, not assigned to Anas Sarwar, not assigned to the Labour leadership. And therefore it's not dividing people from Labour. And I've got to say, it's a very good tactic. So if it's his own tactic, then well done. If only a few other leaders would follow the same thing. Anyway, Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar has laughed off the suggestion that his party could use the help of Conservative and LibDem voters in the upcoming by-election in Rutherglen and Hamilton West, while also saying his party were hungry and desperate for votes. Well, yeah, I mean, he might not need them. He may well get them, regardless of whether he needs them or not. Taking to the stage at Rutherglen Town Hall alongside Sir Keir Starmer, the Labour duo made their pitch as they prepared to face the SNP in a race for Margaret Ferrier's old seat. It just occurred to me, looking back up there, it looks like a northern comedy duo doing rounds in Rochdale, doing the clubs of Rochdale, Northern Club Circuit, up and, Dumb and Dumberer. Anyway, asked by the Scottish Express, don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-Labour, I'm not anti-Tory, I'm not anti-SNP, I'm anti-everyone. I'm anti-everyone, so I don't pick sides. They're all sods. People are important, political parties can kiss my arse. Anyway, asked by the Scottish Express if they would back any form of tactical voting in what has been pinned as a two-party race, Mr Sarwar said, I don't think there's tactical voters anymore. Oh, there most certainly is. I know that for a fact. In 2019, over 8,000 people voted Tory and just under 3,000 voted LibDem. But Labour are focusing all their attention on angry Nats. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you now, those 11,000 Tory and Lib Dems, I would say at least 10% of them are going to vote Labour, just to make sure that the Lib Dems, that the SNP are out. According to Labour canvassers, the issue of SNP fraud and arrests has been high on the agenda of angry voters. Although your man Curtis said it was the biggest single factor was Humza Yousaf himself, of course. They said it's coming up constantly, and said Sarwar, whose party does not back independence. In fact, it's only SNP, Greens and the non-existent tiny Alva party that do. No chance. Anyway, speaking to reporters, he said, I don't think there are tactical voters anymore. The Conservatives might want to pretend that they are voters that are Conservative would vote Labour, but I think there are people that would want to vote Labour because they recognise the Tories have failed. And they just want rid of them across the UK and the SNP in Scotland. So I want people to be voting positively for Labour because they believe Labour can deliver the change that they need. The only reason I'd vote positively for Labour is not that I think Labour are going to make a good job of it. I just think that the mistakes they make will be different mistakes, and at least they will be concentrating on doing what they're doing. They won't be putting the veil of independence across everything. And so that's an awful lot of money that's wanked away, that the SNP are wanking away on independence shit, that won't be wanked away like that. So there is that. And we've got to be honest and say it's likely to be Labour. So you accept that. You know, you go, okay, look, this is who it's going to be. Deal with it, move on. Deal with what you got. You've got to play the hand you got. Sir Keir was adamant once again that there's no rift, tension or split between him and his Scottish counterpart. Not in most things. There are a couple of things, and the gender bill is one of them. It's a fact that hasn't sat well with some, who pointed out that the two-child benefit cap and the self-ID stance represent, at the very least, a difference of opinion rather than some irreconcilable differences. There are differences, they're going to be, but at the end of the day, it isn't going to be a massive difference. Sarwar stated, I think people can see that from one way we operate and the way that we are with each other. We're very open and direct with each other, and we have a really, really positive ongoing dialogue, and our teams are really, really strong. Yeah, I mean, they are different. They are. Scottish Labour is not Labour, but they say, you know, they're two cars on the same road, put it that way. They're two cars driving to the same direction. They may just take slightly different routes, but they're aiming in the same direction. Anyway, we'll stop that there, but you know, I completely agree that they're not going to need tactical voting, but I do think that they will get some tactical voting. But I think they'll definitely need it come the full general election. Anyway, round off, come up. Margaret Thatcher once had a Home Secretary, a right-hand man. His name was Willie Whitelaw. And of course, she was Britain's first female Prime Minister. And very famously said, and she knew exactly what she was saying, that every Prime Minister needs a Willie. And, yes, now we all sniggered like schoolboys because... Well, I would suggest that any party leader, regardless of what party you're in, wouldn't be going too far wrong if they had a Jackie Baillie. Now, Anas Sarwar is in the lucky position of having one. I'm not saying that she's the best politician that ever existed, but she does come across at least as a decent human being, and I've got a lot of time for Jackie Baillie. She always strikes me, she always reminds me of your favourite aunt, you know, that one who gives you the extra large slice of cake when your mother isn't looking. She comes across like that. She comes across a very nice human being. I'm sure there's political points in which I vehemently disagree, and that's fine, and that's how it is. I mean, she is at least, I think, human, but she's also got the, she's got the instincts, hasn't she? She's got the killing instinct of a cobra. But like I say, she's human. Now you couldn't say that about, say, Angus Robertson or Ian Blackford. You wouldn't want to spend time with them, you know. And there's others in the Labour Party you certainly wouldn't want to spend time with. But yeah, Jackie Baillie, I think she's all right, and I think she is the secret weapon that is going to help win Labour an awful lot of seats. Not just in the by-election, the by-election is coming up, but come the general election, and then come the Scottish Holyrood elections, Couldn't think of the word there. My word. I think that she will be a force for good for the Labour Party, and I think she will be the one that they wheeling out. Now, obviously, come the general election, she obviously doesn't have a dog in that fight, being an MSP, but they'll still wheel her out to back up any candidates and get her around the constituencies and things, because she is seen as the de facto leader. Not the de jure, but the de facto leader of the Labour Party in Scotland, because obviously Anas Sarwar never gets himself out. And that's absolutely fine. It does put her in a strong position, though, doesn't it? I think you're looking at the next leader of the Labour Party in Scotland, should she want it. But that's getting a long way ahead of where we are. They haven't even announced the date of the by-election yet, so we are looking into the deep and distant future, But I'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope that this video has earned your subscription, and if it has, do please hit that subscribe button. I cannot say how much it really absolutely helps the channel. It helps us grow, and it's even more so with this video if you hit the like, and we'll get them out. But hitting that subscription is so important to the channel, so do please. Anyway, until next time, stay safe, stay well, and never ever listen to Sir Keir Starmer. I mean, you might listen to Anas Sarwar, but you'll have to listen carefully. But Sir Keir, he sits on the fence and everything. Anyway, bye.